So thanks everyone for being here. Today we're here to discuss a new course on navigating corporate engagement in carbon markets. This course brings together private sector decision makers to explore the business cases for carbon credits. The course aims to provide strategic guidance around credit quality, market integrity, due diligence, partnerships, and risk mitigation. Through expert-led discussion sessions, recorded video lectures, and peer exchange, participants will build knowledge and networks to confidently navigate the evolving landscape of corporate engagement in carbon markets and learn from real-world successes and pitfalls. I'm Liz Felker, Program Manager at ELTI, and I'm here with my colleagues at ELTI, Jillian Bloomfield, Associate Director of Online Programs, and Emmy Nicholson, Online Training Associate. And we represent the Environmental Leadership and Training Initiative, which is one of the programs and centers of Yale School of the Environment, with nearly 20 years of experience supporting environmental practitioners all over the world gain the knowledge, networks, and skills for effective environmental conservation and restoration. We deliver high-touch online learning for working professionals, refining an online teaching methodology that offers personalized engagement and application to participants' own learning goals. We are also joined today by one of our guest experts in the course, JD, who is the Executive Director for Climate and Stewardship Strategy at Julius Baer, and you'll be hearing from him later in the presentation. Thanks for being here, JD. Today, we will provide a course overview, details on the participant experience. You'll hear from one of our guest instructors. We'll provide details on admissions and cost, and we'll close with a Q&A. So please put any questions you have using that Q&A function at the bottom of your Zoom window, and we'll raise some of these questions at the end of the session. Now I'll get started with the course overview. This course is designed for participants to receive expert guidance from an array of leaders in the field of carbon markets with decades of experience navigating carbon market decision-making. Participants will also build a network of trusted peers and climate leaders, including fellow course participants as well as course contributors. Participants will gain knowledge and skills to apply to their own company goals or those that they advise, and learn from real-world successes and pitfalls to gain insight into what has worked well and what lessons have been learned. The course is designed to provide strategic guidance for carbon professionals working on the demand side of carbon markets. And this includes people making carbon purchasing decisions, advisors to the private sector, current or aspiring corporate actors, as well as additional climate professionals passionate about driving market integrity through demand-side decision-making. This high-touch online course takes place over 6 weeks. You'll spend an average of 5 hours per week and learn from more than 15 carbon market experts. The course curriculum is divided into 6 thematic modules, and these modules have been developed by course advisors who have identified and synthesized the course concepts essential to understand each of these themes, as well as identifying guest instructors to provide strategic guidance to inform decision-making. The curriculum includes considerations to shape decision-making, examples of opportunities and challenges and how they've played out, positive and negative examples to learn from, and above all, the various strategies used by corporate actors for due diligence, partnerships, and risk mitigation, and how these strategies align with specific company context, goals, and priorities. Now we're going to dig in a bit to the curriculum. So in week 1, participants will understand what are the business cases and motivations for companies engaged in carbon markets, what is needed to build the confidence of corporate actors to engage, and what factors should shape the decision of when and why a company prioritizes nature-based climate solutions compared with other types of solutions. In week 2, participants will explore how do various credit types and attributes align with company goals and intended claims, and what do decision makers need to know about legal considerations and regulations. In week 3, participants will gain skills and knowledge on how to recognize high-quality credits and projects for positive climate, social, and environmental impacts. They'll look at what does due diligence look like throughout a project development lifecycle and how to monitor a project to know it's on track to issue quality credits and co-benefits. Week 4 will explore what does successful engagement with rights holders and local communities look like, and how can someone on the demand side of carbon markets promote Indigenous people and local community agency in decision-making processes. In week 5, participants will receive strategic guidance on what are the primary categories of reputational and strategic risks faced by corporate actors, and how are credit types and attributes associated with these types of risks, and what strategies do corporate actors use to identify, assess, and mitigate risks. And week 6 will close in reflecting on what changes in policy or technology are actors anticipating, what opportunities and challenges do climate professionals see in the paths forward for addressing climate change through markets. The curriculum will also include cross-cutting case studies, where you will hear strategic guidance from corporate actors and advisors, including what factors shape their decision-making related to internal priorities, goals, and distributing capacity. How do they identify projects worth jumping in on? And how have they navigated tough choices, risks, and challenges? Participants will apply course learnings through reflective and applied exercises, including the development of a pitch deck rooted in their company's unique context and goals. Or those in a position of advising corporate actors will design a set of recommendations for a specific company. Over the 6 weeks, as we move through the thematic modules, participants will apply that week's learnings into their pitch deck, and the course will culminate with participants' presentations of their pitch deck, where they will receive guidance and feedback from a set of experts as well as peers. And with that, I'll hand it to Jillian Bloomfield.
Thank you, Liz, and nice to see some familiar faces in the list of participants. So now we'll go into a little bit of detail about the participant experience in this course. ELTI, as Liz mentioned, the Environmental Leadership and Training Initiative, has many years, over a decade of experience with high-touch online learning. And we've really found that what can make a difference in our course compared to some other different opportunities available or massive open online courses or other ways to access material, in our high touch model, we're really invested in your learning and professional success through the providing of materials that you can view at your own pace during a given week, but that are tailored to a professional audience. Opportunities for real-time engagement with peers and instructors where you can really dig into market complexities and your unique contexts. And then access to experts with decades of experience in the field, and then personalized instruction and feedback. So who will you engage with? One of the things that is really important to us in designing and developing this course and others is to bring together people with a wide variety of experience, expertise, and perspective. So that includes access to leading scientists at Yale specialized in carbon capture and climate change. For example, we have with us in the course an instructor, Sarah Kibbing, who's Director of Research at the Yale Applied Science Synthesis Program at the Yale School of the Environment. We also have private sector actors with experience shaping climate and carbon market strategies, such as the Jean-Damien Bogner, who's here today, Executive Director for Climate and Stewardship Strategy at Julius Baer. We have other climate professionals with experience supporting companies through decarbonization and net zero decisions, such as Jennifer Jenkins, Chief Science Officer at Rubicon Carbon, among others. And then other experts working with Indigenous peoples and local community engagement and risk assessment, among the other themes involved in the course, such as Carol Berghoff, Director of Indigenous Peoples and Local Community and Stakeholder Engagement at Emergent, and Spencer Meyer, who's the Chief Ratings Officer at B0 Carbon. And these are just a sampling of the over 15 different experts being featured and showcased in this course. And then, of course, you'll engage with your fellow participants in the course. That's a big part of the experience, to learn from peers, to share experiences, and build a community of learners. So what will you do in a given week? So there's access to the content. So each week we'll open up a thematic module on the themes that Liz walked you through earlier in the presentation. So in the course, there'll be more than 12 different videos that you can access at your own pace. Then we'll come together and there's content with the real world experiences shared and lessons learned in these presentations and in our live sessions, and then curated readings and resources that you can access on the course platform. As mentioned, there's also the opportunity for interaction and feedback. So we'll have 6 expert-led live sessions that will also have panel discussions and then opportunities for peer-to-peer exchange and peer and expert review of the pitch deck assignments and your reflections. And then there's a big focus on application. So each week you'll be asked to do reflections on how the content relates to your interests and your work. We have some guided exercises and then the applied final project of building your skills to put together this pitch deck. So overall, with ELTI's high-touch learning approach, we want to really emphasize our focus on mentorship, networks, and the long-term benefits. And this comes out in feedback from all of our different courses. For example, past participants of different ELTI online courses have shared that the mentorship and global network was really important to them. That they really appreciated getting to know the different practitioners, their peers in the program, the mentors, course assistants, and especially the guest lecturers who share their wisdom. That the different professors are sharing their insights very openly and taking time to reflect on their personal questions. That they are able to get rich, constructive feedback on their assignments and their reflections. And then especially that the online courses, according to this model, foster meaningful exchange and long-term collaboration opportunity. And then there's also the opportunity to engage with Yale. So during the course, it'll be Yale faculty and networks from and individuals all over the world through access through the Yale network, bringing together leading science to lectures and resources. You'll have access to different Yale faculty and staff participating in the live sessions and Q&A, and then those providing the expert feedback. And then there's also opportunity for in-person events. So networking receptions at global conferences and events, invitations to attend on-campus conferences and other activities. For example, every year, the Yale Center for Natural Carbon Capture has a symposium, but we envision there's a wide variety of different opportunities that you all as participants can get together, meet in person, and also engage with the big network at Yale. So now I'll pass it back to Liz to introduce and lead us in some questions for our guest instructor who's here today.
Thanks, Jillian. So we've mentioned a few times we're joined here today by Jean-Damien J.D. Bogner. And JD is Executive Director for Climate and Stewardship Strategy at Julius Baer. So JD, thank you for being here. I think we'll start out. Could you just tell us a bit about your background and experience in carbon markets?
Yes, sure. Really, it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for the invitation also, Liz and Gillian. So as mentioned, you can call me JD. I have 17 years of experience in the financial industry. I worked for large banks in Switzerland, and today I work for the largest wealth manager in Switzerland called Julius Baer. We are a global company, about 8,000 employees, and we manage a bit less than half a trillion of assets under management. And in this company, I'm part of the sustainability team and most precisely in charge of the climate strategy. So that starts with setting up targets. How can we reduce our emissions? And then, of course, there's a part about how do we compensate and remove the emissions that we cannot abate. And so in this context, of course, I'm also in charge of the portfolio of decarbonization initiatives that we have set up.
Great. We're so pleased you're contributing to the course. And I'm wondering if you could share why do you think this course is important and why did you want to be part of it?
Yeah, thanks for the question. A great question. I think the course is actually extremely important. I was already advocating for it a few years ago when I was joining the first cohort of the LT program. Because from the prospect of project developers, this can really be an important source of funding, which I think has been underexploited until now. But just if we take a step back, we just see that there's more and more claims from net zero globally from companies. The majority of large listed companies have now made some sort of net zero claims. And so that really creates a great opportunity for carbon markets. But there's also, and I think I saw it also on one of the slides that you have, or that Gillian has shared, there's a great way to do it really well. And there's also unfortunately, a high possibility to do things really wrong. And so the reason why I wanted to join is because actually I've been through this process several times. I've seen, unfortunately, quite a number of projects which are not so good, and also a few projects which are really excellent. And so for me, it was important to share this experience and also to give very practical examples of how we approached certain risks and certain challenges that we have faced internally, going from how did we convince the management team, a large listed bank, so people who are really far away from the mindset of supporting nature-based projects, into also how did we choose these projects, how did we perform the due diligence to avoid and mitigate the risks as much as possible.
Well, we're so pleased you're contributing to the course and that participants in the course will have the opportunity to learn from you and your experience. And you're also in a unique circumstance where not only are you contributing to this course, but you've participated previously in an LT online course. So I'm wondering if you could speak to what you would like to share with, people considering taking this course about your experience of LT's high touch learning model.
Yeah, so a few years back when I looked into, the range of possible education programs, I decided to go with LT, and it was because of a combination of factors. The first one for me was that it provided the flexibility to do the course in parallel of continuing to work. So that was important for me, and I think this flexibility remains also with this training program. And that is combined with the best academic support that you can get with the excellence of Yale's teacher. What I appreciated a lot is that you have this flexible model, but with the high touch, as you mentioned. So I've done other training programs where everything is online. There's a bit of peer exchange, but you never know really with whom you are interacting. And in the end, the added value might be a bit more limited. And here, I think you have a great concept where you have the best of both worlds. So you have the flexibility of having some videos and readings that you can do whenever you have time. But then you have also these few moments where you can exchange with peers, but also with the teachers. And, besides me, and I'm very humble when I see the names that you have also in the cohort. You have Jennifer Jenkins, who is a co-recipient of the Nobel Prize in 2007. You have Daniel Ortega, who joined the COP21 in Paris, and many others. And so the fact that you have a direct access to these people and you can ask your practical questions and get an answer or guidance, I think this is invaluable. So I think it's really a great approach. It's a great concept. And as you mentioned, maybe one last thing is that everything is very practical. So we get a bit of theory, but then immediately there's the ask and there's the framework so that you apply it very concretely. So you can really take very concrete advices, along with you and apply that directly into your job.
Well, I'm glad that we'll have the Q&A in just a moment so that people can ask some specific questions about this experience from the participant side. And I'd love to come back to you to share any questions that come up.
Yeah.
Thank you, JD. I'm going to pass it to Emmy, who's going to share just a bit of details on the admissions and cost side of things, because you might have some questions on that. So we'll provide some details, and then we'll open to the Q&A after that. So be sure to put any questions that you have in that Q&A function. Over to you, Emmy.
Great. Thank you so much, Liz. And thank you also, JD. It's really wonderful to hear from both of you. So with that, let's discuss a little bit about admissions and cost. Okay. All right, so first off, how should you apply to this course? First, we ask that you visit carbon.lt.yale.edu/applied and review the application requirements in detail and to apply by our deadline of November 3rd, 2025. Before starting your application, we also ask that you review the course dates, guidance on how to apply, the application required materials, and the application facts or FAQ. For your application requirements, to apply, you must submit a completed application form, which is available on our apply page, your resume in English in a 3-page maximum, as well as 2 personal statement questions. For each of these questions, there is a 2,500 character limit per essay. If you have any questions about these, you're welcome to reach out to us about that. But I do want to note that there is no application fee and transcripts or references are not required. So for your tuition, it includes these 6-week-long online modules, as well as your pitch deck design, as well as the unlimited access to all online course materials. You'll get this support from mentors throughout the course, have face-to-face online interaction with experts and peers, personalized expert advice on course and project work, your project work being your pitch deck design. And the weekly live sessions will be available to you where you can raise questions and exchange ideas with experts and peers. If you are looking to apply and you would like to have access to a tuition discount on the total tuition cost of $1,400, we ask that you apply by October 6th to access that discount. Regarding some important dates that are coming up, as we just mentioned, October 6th is the early application deadline. And then there is the regular application deadline on November 3rd. And December 1st, we'll have our enrollment deadline, so we will notify you approximately within 2 weeks of the application deadline, which I'll talk a little bit more about shortly. On December 15th, you'll have your payment deadline. And then next year on January 26th, we will have our course start, and that will last through early March, March 8th. So our application review is a rolling process. So this means we're reviewing some applications as they're coming in. We'll communicate your application status to you approximately 2 weeks after the applicable application deadline. So whether you're applying by early or regular decisions deadlines. If you have any questions or want to talk about some of those questions one-on-one with a member of ELTI's online training team, we encourage you to write to lt@yale.edu to schedule a one-on-one call with us. whether it's Jillian, Liz, myself, or also Abby, who is not here right now, but any of us are available to answer your questions. And with that, I'll pass it back to Liz to lead us in our Q&A process.
Thanks, Emmy. So as I mentioned, feel free to put any questions that you have that are coming up in the Q&A. We had one question that I saw that Jillian was able to answer in the chat, but Jillian, maybe I'll give you the chance just to come off mute and share live. In the circumstance that someone might miss a week of the course, or might know in advance that part of that timing doesn't work for them, how should they think about that? Should they still consider applying to the course?
Sure, thank you, Liz. And yes, so this participant had asked if they are going to be traveling for a week and a half of the course, what can they do and should they still apply? And so our answer is that yes, we recommend that you apply. A part of our flexible approach is that we know that many of our participants are balancing this course with both their professional and personal commitments. So while it's only a 6-week long course, we hope that you can be active in as much of it as possible. We're also flexible to make special arrangements. So any of the recorded video lectures, the curated readings, and other materials posted to the course platform will all be available after you might come back from your travel. You can also arrange special deadlines for us for any of the submissions. And then the only thing that might be an issue is participation in the live activities. So for 1 hour a week, we'll be coming together on Zoom for live real-time engagement. And so that's the kind of thing, if you can make it work with your travel, we'd love to have you. Many of those live sessions we will record and post the recording for the course participants to view afterwards. So in that case, we welcome you to watch that recording after your travel. But there are some aspects of that do not get recorded. So when we do small group discussions and break into smaller groups, sometimes that's not recorded. Or if any of our speakers, for confidentiality reasons, request that part of the live sessions not recorded, those would be the two elements that you would not be able to make up later. So again, we're pretty flexible. We encourage you to still apply and enroll, and then we can discuss the specific dates and if there's any materials that would be hard to access later.
Thanks, Jillian. I also note in the Q&A there was a question about people coming from different types of sectors. So someone specifically asked, could you highlight some of the benefits of this course to someone working in the nonprofit sector? And we know there are people working in the nonprofit sector all across the landscape of carbon markets. So if the person that asked that question, if you want to give us a bit more insight into, your role or your positioning as someone from the nonprofit sector, but kind of like where you're engaging in carbon markets, that could help us answer more specifically. But just reflecting a moment more broadly on the target audience for this course, as you can see in the presentation we gave today, this course really does target those working in the demand side of carbon markets or those that are aspiring to build their careers on the demand side. And that could include people that are currently or aspiring to work in the private sector, or the whole nexus of actors that are serving to advise or inform strategic decision making by the private sector. So that is really the target audience for this course, and how that plays out and shows up in the course is really, the materials are recorded tailored to that specific audience, as well as the applied exercise is really focused on that aspect of the carbon market landscape. And I want to just give a moment for any more questions to come in. Okay, I see that that helped clarify for you, so I'm glad that it did. Um, I wonder, Jillian, Emmy, JD, without any questions coming in the chat, is there anything that you haven't been able to share yet, or anything that you want to share with the group?
Just something that crossed my mind because of the questions on the tuition fees and also the last slides and the presentation from Amy. I can just share already as a heads up with you that when you enter the space of the carbon market, and I don't know how much experience the participants to this call have, there's a lot of intermediaries, um, and they tend to charge a lot of fees, not always for good reasons. And so I think that if you get familiar with the best practices and if you get some experience from this course, you will eventually save a lot of money, or your company will save a lot of money just by approaching the right stakeholders, the right intermediaries, and being able to distinguish what is a fair price and what is a good project. And so I think it's really an excellent investment compared to the value that you might get out of it afterwards.
Thanks,
Just
JD.
wanted to.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you. I see a question has just come in specifically around payment methods and installment. I wonder, Jillian, could I pass that to you?
Sure. Well, in general, we recommend sending us an email at LTELTI@yale.edu to discuss your specific payment needs. In general, we have the payment deadline that Emmy mentioned, and there's an opportunity to discuss. For example, if your company needs or organization needs that split into different amounts, or you need us to process something through the company itself or through your organization itself versus you as an individual, we can work out some custom arrangements. So that's where I recommend for all payment related questions, write to elti@yale.edu. Which I see Emmy graciously just put into the chat, and we can discuss your specific circumstance.
Great. Thanks, Jillian. Emmy or Jillian, is there anything else that y'all would like to share that we didn't get the chance to cover?
One question that we often get is, so for someone like JD, how will the participants get to access you? In what way? And so I'll mention a few things and then you can share from your perspective, JD, from the participant side and whatnot. But mostly what we have this wide range of different actors and contributors in the course. You'll view pre-recorded video presentations they're featured in, and then we invite many of them to come to our live discussion where we ask you all to submit questions, reflections ahead of time. Those guests take the time to review the materials in advance so that we can come to the live session ready to tailor it to your specific learning needs. And so that's the same. We just recorded an interview with JD. That will be one of the many lectures in the program, and then we'll be seeing him in, I think it's module 6 or module 5 of the course. JD, anything you want to add to that?
No, I would just add out of experience that for me these were the highest added value because then I had the direct access to the experts and I could directly ask the specific questions to my case. And so it's nice to have lectures and videos from them, but then it's them sharing their experience. If you can really ask them about your specific case, then you really get an answer which is very valuable for yourself. So I think that's it's a good approach. And I'll be very happy to share whatever I can. I have always the motto that there's with me, and forget my French, there's no bullshit. So I'm very open to share, as I mentioned before, all the opportunities, all the challenges that we have faced. So we'll be transparent.
Thanks, JD, and thanks, Jillian. I think with that, unless, we can stay on a moment for any more questions that come on through the Q&A, but I just want to say thank you so much for attending today. Really encourage you to apply or to reach out to us if you have any questions about the application process. In that application, we really want to hear from you why you want to take this course and how you plan on implementing what you will learn in the course. So those are, the essay prompts that Emmy mentioned. That's really what we're looking to hear from you. So please apply and reach out to us. JD, thank you so much for being part of the course and then for joining us today to share some of your experience and motivation to be part of the course. And Emmy and Jillian, thank you for being here today as well. Thanks, everyone.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Have a good day, everyone.
Have a good day. Bye.